everybody, welcome back to another video. I hope you are all doing well, stuck in quarantine. Things are opening back up a little bit, so hopefully life will slowly get back to being normal. Today, we are going to be doing a few errands around the town, which are kind of boring, but I figured I'd take you guys along because after those errands, I will be driving around my town trying to find some cool spots to take photos at because I feel like I've shot everything that I know to death, and I'm doing more and more portraits lately. I actually have 3 or 4 shoots planned in the next week or so. So I want to go out into my town and find some new cool places to take portrait photos at. I feel like some of my portraits have just been the same thing over and over again, so I wanted to find some diversity in the locations that I'm taking people to. And with new models, I want to find new locations. So that's the main goal of today's video. And then, yeah, we'll talk about a few other things later on in the video. Probably going to talk about a new camera that came out that I'm kind of interested in, and then maybe a new lens or something like that. Yeah, I will talk to you guys a little bit later in the day after I run those errands and when we get to our first spot that I have scouted out for photos. So I'm not taking anything else with me, just me and this camera. We're not taking any photos today, nothing like that, just gonna be pure old video fun. Okay, so guys, I am here at my first location for the scouting mission, and that is my old high school. So I was here a while ago with Stelios and Jesse, basically in this exact same spot. And at that time, I realized we have some beautiful tennis courts. I should do a photo shoot on the tennis court and get like a little bit of a retro vibe to it. And it turns out that the tennis courts are actually locked. So all those tennis courts behind me with the blue and the green and the nice nets, can't use them at all for photos. So I'm gonna have to come up with a different idea for some photo shoots, but I know that the track is open and also there's some stands right in front of me, the baseball field. So I think both of those, I think the track will basically replace the tennis courts because the track is nice and blue and has those leading lines and you can do sitting, standing, different poses on the track. Yeah, it's just a little sad that the tennis courts are closed because I had some cool ideas regarding that, but you gotta make do with what you got. So I'm gonna move on to the next spot, and I'm not even sure where that is yet, but I'm gonna drive further down the road and see what I come up with. Okay guys, so I made it to my second location and we've seen this before. These are the train tracks that I went to with Stelios and Jesse in that one video we did a few months ago. So I've shot this place already, but I think that it would work with the style of one of the shoots that I'm doing tomorrow. And I'm just gonna talk about a few things that I look for when I'm scouting out locations for portrait photos. And the 3 main things would be leading lines, different textures, and then things to put in the foreground and the background of your image. So the 2 places that I've gone so far, the tennis courts and this train track, both have really good leading lines. The train track obviously has the tracks leading into the subject, directing your eye towards the subject of your image. And then the tennis courts, they have all the different lines on the courts. And yeah, you can just find a whole bunch of different angles and things like that. That'll push the focus towards your subject. So the second thing is texture. So texture you can find pretty much anywhere. What I mean by mostly finding texture is finding some cool backgrounds for the image, something that separates the background from the subject of your image. So here at the train tracks, we don't really have that because it's kind of just a mess of trees or open area behind the train tracks. But then at the tennis courts, what I had in mind, I was going to be shooting very high angles so that I'd have the court as the background. So if that makes sense, basically it would be so high that the background of the image would be the ground. And then the third thing is finding things to put in the foreground and the background of your image. So I don't really have that here at the train tracks because there's not much diversity going on is literally just the train tracks. But at the tennis court, my idea was that I would be shooting through the net or through the fence to get those crisscross sections of the fence or the net in the foreground, and then have my subject in focus behind that. One of my favorite places that I actually did a portrait shoot recently was with my friends Bailey and Faith, and we went to an abandoned building here in my town that just had unbelievable opportunities to get foregrounds and backgrounds for the image. There was old doors, old walls, windows, different old pieces of furniture and things like that that you could have out of focus in the foreground or the background, and that'll just create so much depth for your image, and it will push the focus again towards the subject of the photo. So I'll put some of those photos on the screen right now because that was one of my most successful portrait photo shoots that I've ever done. So yeah, hopefully you guys liked those shots. So now I'm gonna head further up this road to another abandoned area. This is like an old, kind of like the groundwork for a house. It's all concrete and there's a little bit of concrete structure there. And I think that'll fit very well for one of the photo shoots that I'm doing tomorrow. So I'm gonna head up there, check that out, and I will talk to you guys more when I'm up there. Okay guys, so I have made it to the next spot, and I honestly don't even know what to call this place. But we were at the cul-de-sac of a dead end here up on a hill. The high school that we just came from is down the hill more, and yeah, this place is pretty much just a little old spot where they're gonna build a house and they never got around to it. So now everybody comes up here to watch the sunset and things like that. So I've actually never been here before or tried to take photos or anything like that, but I think it's gonna be a cool spot if I get the right lighting and it's not too harsh. That I think the different textures like this, which is concrete, and some graffiti and stuff like that would look really cool behind in the background of portraits. So I'm going to explore this area a little bit and see if I can come up with something. My photo shoot tomorrow is kind of early in the day, so I might not be getting a sunset to take photos of, but if I have another photo shoot, this could always be a spot for a sunset type shoot. So yeah, I'll show you guys around a little bit. So yeah guys, that's a little bit of that spot. It's a little bit of a party spot, I think, and as you saw there's a few beer cans and lots of graffiti curse words and things like that. I'm not going to be doing any of that type of stuff here. I'm sure it's fun for other people, but I'm going to be taking photos, which is what I love to do, and not being an idiot. So I'm heading back to my car now. I'm going to drive around more now. This was like the only other spot that I had in mind to come and scout out, but I will go to a few other locations, or hopefully find a few other locations, and let you guys know what I come up with. Okay guys, so I just pulled back into my driveway here at home, and yeah, that's about it for the location scouting. I literally could not find anything else that was a viable photo shoot location. I do know a few others, but they're 20-30 minutes away further up north, so I just didn't feel like wasting the gas and going up there because I already know about those spots. So that's probably going to be it for the photo location scouting. I'll talk more about that inside, and I'm also going to mention a few other things about a new camera that just came out that is interesting me a little bit to replace this video camera. But yeah, we'll do that when I get inside, so I'll talk to you guys inside. Okay guys, so I'm back inside now and I'm in my kitchen. I just want to talk to you guys about a few things that I have had in mind after they've been released. And that was a new camera, a new video camera actually, and it's called the Sony ZV-1. Bit of a tongue twister. And I think that camera is very interesting because it is smaller than the camera that I'm filming on right now, which is the EOS M50, which is kind of like one of those go-to intro video maker cameras. And it's good for vlogging. It has the flip out screen and a good all around quality, and it's fairly compact. But this camera, the ZV from Sony, has almost all of that. It has better autofocus, and It is basically built for vloggers, essentially. So it does not have a removable lens, so that makes it more compact than the camera that I'm using right now, and I'm never gonna change from this lens if I keep this camera. It's a 15-45, so it's 3.5 aperture at 15 millimeters, and it's 6.3 aperture at 45 millimeters. So it is not the best in low light, whereas the Sony camera, I believe, is a 24-70 equivalent lens, and it has 1.8 aperture at 24 millimeters, and then a 2.8 at 70 millimeters. So it has a wider zoom range and a better aperture than this lens, which is detachable. So I could replace this with a better lens, but then it would just get bigger and the kit would just be too big for vlogging, in my opinion. The Sony also has a better built-in microphone, better autofocus, and yeah, it just seems like it would be a great replacement or upgrade on the camera that I am using right now. And I'm just very interested in it. It came out, I believe, yesterday or today. Probably when you see this video, probably like a week ago. If you're interested in getting a video camera, definitely go check it out. A lot of people have put out reviews about it already, and it seems like it's kind of taking the YouTube world by storm for all of us people who are vlogging to the camera, essentially. So it's a little bit more expensive than the camera here, the EOS M50 that I'm using, but if I sold this on eBay, I could probably get most of my monies back on this that I bought about a year ago, and I would only have to spend about 200 more for the Sony. So I'm gonna do some more research, hold out a little bit, and just, you know, see where everything takes me, because right now I'm not really making that many videos, so I don't really think that I need to invest in a new camera right now, but it definitely caught my eye and I'm definitely interested in it. The other thing that I mentioned would be a new lens. So you guys remember in 2 or 3 videos ago, I fell in a river at Watkins Glen. If you haven't seen that, definitely go and tap the corner and watch that right now, because I got some great photos, but I did fall in a river with my camera. So the camera is pretty much okay. I would like to replace it, but I don't really have the money to replace it. It's not really autofocusing as well, and there's a little bit of water stuck in the viewfinder, so you can't really see what you're looking at that well, but the camera still works. So I'm not doing anything to replace that because I don't have the money, but I did get insurance money for the lens that I fell in the river with. Yeah, that lens does not work. So that lens is the Tokina 14-20 f2, and that was my wide angle go-to lens for landscapes or star photography. So I think I might be replacing that lens. Maybe replacing that and my 24-120, because the broken lens and the 24-120 are both pretty old at this point, and I've destroyed the 24-120. I have a crack in it, I've fallen over with it, I've gotten it super dusty, and it's just been through hell. So I'm thinking about replacing both those lenses with some of the insurance money that I got back for the broken one, and then my own personal money. So if you have any lens suggestions for the wide angle to the medium telephoto, put those down in the comments. So right now, the lenses that I'm looking at to replace that wide angle lens is the Sigma 18-35 1.8 art lens. I have not done any further research on that, so I don't know if it's good or not. Another lens that I'm looking at is the Nikon 16-80 millimeter f2.8 to f4 lens. And then another lens that I'm looking at is the Sigma 24-105 f4. So those are the main 3 lenses that I'm looking at to replace the lenses that I've talked about. I would also like to possibly get a 70-200 f2.8, but I don't think I'm gonna have the money for that this summer, maybe in the future or when I save up some more money. So yeah, let me know if you know anything about those lenses in the comments, and that's gonna be about it for the video. So hopefully you guys learned a little bit about what I look for in my portrait photography locations. I will definitely show you guys examples about what I'm talking about with the leading lines, the texture, and the foreground and background in the photos. I think that'll be much easier to explain when I have a photo next to me on the screen and you can see what I'm talking about. So with that being said, I will sign off with my super long hair because I need a haircut, and I'll talk to you in the next video. So bye for now.